over the last year, I've spent a great deal of time with my good friend here, Sparky. He is my dog. He is my friend. He's somebody that I've spent a lot of time with. And although it looks like he's making a hostage video here, he's actually quite happy and quite a productive and faithful member of our family. And I think I've learned a lot of things about how to be an effective leader based on how he is. So I wanted to share some of my lessons with you. I think the first lesson I've learned from him is that in a time of crisis, be who you are, be who you're most comfortable being. My friend Sparky here takes these pictures all the time with his ears flopped up one way and in front of another, and he builds relationships with people based on being who he is. People, like dogs, can sense your emotions. They can sense how you're feeling. And most importantly, they can sense when you're not being straight with them and not being truthful to them. And so being authentic is really the most important tool that a leader has. You can't really fool people if you're not able to fool yourself. And so that, to me, is one of the most important things, is to be authentic, be yourself, and understand that people sense your emotions whether or not you feel like you're telegraphing them to them or not. The second thing is to sort of be a real listener. My friend Sparky here, you can look at his picture here and you can't really tell which of his ears is working and which one isn't. We don't really know. But in reality, the most important thing is to show that you can be a real listener. You can get a lot more out of a conversation by listening than you can from talking. And more importantly, people don't really feel like they've had a good experience in a conversation if they haven't been heard. So being a true listener is really an underappreciated art, and doing that is kind of the thing that makes you connect with people better. We all walked away from interactions with people where we felt like we were monologued at, and also ones where we felt like people heard us. And I think the latter is the one that feels better. And so that's kind of the one that I think is the most important to try and demonstrate to folks that you're working with. The third thing here is like to really keep an eye on where you're going. And as a dog, Sparky is always got he's more concerned about sort of what's on the horizon, what's out there that he can look out for to protect us, than he is sort of with maybe the minute by minute details of what's going on. And when we think about what's been going on over the last year, especially for our cities and states and our communities, there's been a lot for us to get bogged down on. But also there's tremendous opportunity on the horizon. There's ways that we can redefine and recalculate and recalibrate our cities in this very critical moment that we probably didn't have available to us 2 years ago. And so keeping your eyes on that horizon is something that allows you to really give people a vision that we're going to get out of this, and we're going to transform, and we're going to move to something that's even better than we are, despite the tragic circumstances that we're in at the moment. I think from a more personal level, being able to recognize what you need as a person to be an effective leader. And to me, we can't all do this based on our sort of 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or 6 to 12 jobs that we have here. We need to be supported. We need to be bolstered by what's around us. Sparky isn't the only person in my life who supports me. I've got my little friend Emma here, who gets along quite well, mostly with Sparky. And believe it or not, I also have human friends in my house. And building those relationships, keeping those relationships strong, are what keeps us strong for each other. And I think, to me, focusing on those relationships at home is a very important thing to do as well. And then lastly, kind of never forget where you came from. Sparky wasn't somebody that we picked up from a breeder or from a pet shop. He's somebody that I actually pulled out of the icy waters of Lake Michigan, where he was running away from a situation that we'll never understand. He was down the street as a stray, and we sort of saw him and chased after him, and he jumped into the lake, and I pulled him out. Now you look at him and he's sort of a happy, healthy, almost regal little pet here, but in reality, he came from a place that we'll never really understand. And that's what we kind of have to think about with the people that we work with, is that we don't always understand where they came from. We don't know necessarily what their past has been, but we have to be open and understanding of the fact that, like, people come from all different places to the places that they're at right now. as did we. And we can't ever forget that. We always need to be mindful of the fact that, at one point we were in a position where we really needed to be led, and we needed somebody to listen to us and understand us and present to us a compelling vision of the horizon, in order for us to be effective. And we can't forget that the people that we're working with or that we're leading need those things as well. So those are the things I've learned about leadership, especially over the last year, being in this sort of office that I never actually thought that would become exposed to even the people I work with, much less the rest of you. But it's been meaningful for me to understand kind of what matters to people, what matters to the people that I work with, based on some very basic principles. And hopefully these have been helpful to you. And I look forward to hearing more about what questions you have for me as you think about these things yourself. So thanks very much. And I look forward to hearing what your questions are.